Hi, Nicola.
Hi, Slava. Hi, everyone. So practically, I am working on the core of the ZipLine. So I'm modifying the ZipLine or ZipLine reloaded code. So practically, so that we can execute our own strategies and that we can execute in our own way on our own exchanges. Um, so yeah, Slava, you can ask me some questions if you have, and I'll try to answer the
Yes,
best I can.
I have many questions for you. And main questions is related with the data, how data stored in the new ZipLime library. So as you remember, the old ZipLine was using bcalls library that was old
Yeah.
and have some many difficulties of the storing of the data. What currently in ZipLine?
So currently we use Polars and we store data in Parquet format. When I started using Zipline initially, so what I noticed is that it's very hard for me to understand the data and to add additional fields to filter it dynamically and everything. So yeah, so it wasn't really clear. So a big part of the zipline was practically the code for how data is stored, and zipline just wasn't zipline. I didn't want that also in zipline, so I didn't want like the users, if they want custom data, that they need to think about the format and everything. So practically what we do in zipline is that we store all of the data in Polars data frame and just put let Polars save that to disk in Parquet format, or we can use any other format that Polars supports. And that practically means that we can also dynamically filter data from the disk. So if we want data just for one asset, just from one exchange, just for specific days, so we can do that easily. So we don't need to create a whole bunch of code around that and to that we take care of that filtering and everything. We'll let Polars do that, and we fetch data from just data that we need from the disk. So that's that's the reason why we did that, and practically why we decided on using that thing Polars with Parquet format.
Okay, and also one question is related with speed up of the using polars. So is it some speed up? Is it faster, not faster, smaller size or larger size of storing data?
Yeah, so regarding speed, I mean, the main goal was just to keep that current speed of Zipline, to not slow it down, and we managed to succeed that. So it's also faster in some places. So regarding filtering data, so the problem with big calls is that when you load the data, and we also needed to keep it properly indexed inside our code. With Polars, we don't need to do that all of ourselves. We can let Polars filter the data. So practically, if you want an algorithm to fetch a big chunk of historical data, you want to use some groupings, whatever. So it's easy for you to do that. Even in Zipline, you had Pandas for you to do that. But yeah, Polars is faster in a lot of places and in a lot of ways. So practically it adds a speed up, especially inside your handled data. And also it's faster to load the data and to filter data. So practically you just get the data that you need, and you have whole flexibility of dynamic data. So whatever you want to put, even with custom data that you have, whatever you want to put there, you can put it there, and you can filter by that, and you can just pull that specific data. And it's fast for you also to filter that data inside your algorithm. So practically, we got a lot of flexibility with also speed improvements for filtering data and everything.
Okay, perfect. Also, what I find, and it's look like as a user, I find that there is some difference between how I write algorithm code, because I find that you add some async function, so can you please describe it? What the new things
Yeah,
related
I
with this?
mean, when you just look at it from like how you write algorithm in Zipline, and you could think like, okay, why do I need async in every function? Why do I need to call with await and everything? It maybe doesn't make a lot of sense because I mean, Zipline is actually most of the work is CPU bound, so async doesn't maybe look that makes sense for you. But the main goal for that is to enable faster live trading. Because in live trading, what happens is that now we are not so much CPU bound, we are EO bound. So practically what happens is that it enables you to submit orders to multiple exchanges at once and to not like do it in a synchronous way. So that's and practically you don't need now to like in original Zipline, if you wanted to do that, you would need to like create your own processes and everything to submit that in parallel way with async, because you just submit through the network order. You can do that easily and submit, I don't know, order to 5 exchanges at once. So it's easy for you to do that, and you can do it all at once, and you don't need to like wait in synchronous way to submit another order.
And I can see that in your desktop, I see a test algo file. So maybe you can show the main difference, that it's not so big changes. What was changed from original Zipline?
So regarding changes, it's not that we try to like keep the original style, because after all we started from Zipline, so we wanted to keep the original style so that the users can easily switch to using Zipline. So what we changed is that in all places where you practically pull data from somewhere or send data to somewhere, we use now async. So practically in initialize function is changed so that it's async, handle data function is changed so that it's async. And inside, let's say initialize, when you fetch assets, you also use like await, so it's async function. Currently we pull assets from a local database, but later we might pull the assets from a remote source or wherever. So the goal is like whatever you add to it, and from whichever source you add to it, so that you do not slow down your algorithms. And in handle data, again, it's async function, and when you submit orders, so this is like example. So when you submit orders, you practically can, let's say, one example. So in Zipline, if you want to submit 2 orders, so how would you do that? So you would like do it one by one, and first order needs to complete before second. But in Zipline, you can do something like this. So you can just create them, and then you can just use and pass and execute them in the exact, in practically the same, at the same moment. So that's practically the goal of Zipline with this async way of working, that you can practically execute multiple orders at once on multiple exchanges. Because in simulation, you might have one exchange, but we also introduced like that you can use multiple exchanges. Our goal is like to use Zipline for a lot more than we could use Zipline. To use it to communicate with multiple exchanges, to get portfolios from multiple exchanges, to like combine these portfolios, to submit buy order on one exchange, sell order to another exchange, and so on. So, and for that we need ASIC. I mean, we don't need it, but our algo might not be so good if we don't have it.
Yes, and also as users, as regular users of ZipLime, I find that there is big change related with emission rate. So what is it? So because I remember that in original ZipLine there are only two options, so it's only daily candles or minute candles. So what's currently now related with these
Yes.
things?
So goal with the updating simulation clock was to allow dynamic frequencies and emission rates. So practically that's the same thing for the data. So in original Zipline, if you have like a minute data, you have daily data, and that's it. If you want, you need to construct other parts of the data, other frequencies yourself. Same with emission rate. So you have minute emission and daily emission. Goal with these changes to simulation clock and the other stuff was practically it enables you to use a custom emission rate. So if you want to run your handle data function every 3 ticks, you can do that. Every 5 minutes, you can do that. Every week, you can do that. So practically it allows you to change emission rate of the however you want. So whatever frequency supported by Polars, you can practically use that. Also, the same thing for handle data function and also for the frequency of the data. So that's something I forgot to mention also now that you mentioned simulation clock. So that is also the same thing with the data from Polars. It enables us to practically fetch the data in custom frequencies. So it's not just anymore minute and daily data, it's any frequency you want. So you can fetch bi-weekly data if you want.
So just to understand and to be more clear, so if I have 1 second candles, so can I use ZipLime?
Yes. So if you have 1 second, you can use so. And practically, if you let's say that you ingested seconds data, so that means that you can use get your data in Polars and use emission rate anything greater than the frequency of the data set that you insert. So if your data set is 1 second, then you can run minute trading, daily trading, weekly trading, whatever you want, 3 seconds trading, whatever you want. So practically, and that's the same like for the minute data. If you have minute data, you can easily use that the same bundle for running minute data and daily data. So you don't need like to insert 2 bundles and to fetch data. So you just use one. You can use data source that has the lowest frequency of the data and then use that for all other frequencies that you want.
Okay, perfect. And also another questions related so with commission and slippage. So I understand that this is affect to the backtest and to the results of algo trading is very big. So how we measured this commission slippage, how we can set it in ZipLime. So and if there are maybe some changes related to from original ZipLime.
Yes. So we didn't change a lot of like logic how commissions and slippage work in ZipLime. But one thing that we changed is, so we had, when we tested, we had one issue, and that is like if you use order target percentage, and what happens is that you like want to buy specific stock for 100% of your portfolio. What happens sometimes is that your leverage goes to more than one, and that's why we started investigating that and just looking at that and how practically it, because it didn't make sense because we didn't want to leverage. And then when we added like a trading control for max leverage, our algo didn't work anymore because we always crossed that leverage. So what we did regarding commission and so on is in simulation, you can predict commission.
Yep.
Both for transactions and for orders. So it's predictable. You know how your algo works and everything. And what happened in ZipLine is that when you use order target percent, it calculated practically 100% of portfolio for that stock, and it used 100% of your cash to buy that stock. After that, it added slippage and it added commission. So what happens is that because you added a later slippage and commission, what happened is that you got the wrong results because you didn't account it, and that slippage and commission needs to be inside that 100%. So practically you want to execute to buy maximum of shares with specific amount of money. And if you just calculate how many shares you can buy without accounting for commission or slippage, you just won't get the right number. You will buy more than you can inside simulation. And that doesn't seem like a maybe big thing in simulation, but when we switch sides to live trading, what happens is that if you don't have a leverage trading, or maybe you have, but the thing is that you get unexpected results. So you put 1,000 USD dollars, you buy, you calculate how many shares you can buy, you submit that order, and that order just can't be filled, and it won't ever be filled because you don't have that money, and you didn't account for slippage in that. So practically, order target percent becomes useless to you, and you can't really use it. Some people avoided that by like using 98% of the portfolio and so on to account for that slippage and commission, but that just doesn't seem right. It's like avoiding the issue and not solving the issue that is there. So now with order target percent, we try to calculate commission and then slippage up front, and also same thing for exchanges. So maybe we can't predict it completely, but we can predict it in the best way that we can. So if we know how fees are created in a specific exchange and we implement connection to that exchange in ZipLine, what we can do is we can predict how much of the fee is going to go to that exchange and so on. So we can calculate that. Maybe not 100% correct, but we can in most times we can predict it in a good way.
Okay, and I see that you made big work related with risk controls, and you said about leverage. So, and what's about leverage? Because I remember that in some cases there was some problems related with infinite positions and some others.
Yeah, so
things.
it was related to that leverage, and that's how I actually noticed that issue with leverage trade control, because I tried to because of this order target percent, I tried to say, okay, let's just do not submit orders if max order leverage is if it's more than one. But what happened then is that my algorithm just didn't run. So I don't I practically don't have anything working. So first thing I changed is I modified that max leverage to allow just a warning, not so that it doesn't stop the algorithm, so that it just practically submits a warning and says, okay, so you are moving past your leverage, so that the user is aware of what is happening. Because while I was running simulations, I just didn't notice that leverage. So it took me going into some small details to actually notice that leverage. And that's not good, because if I notice that leverage immediately, I would immediately understand that I'm using more money than I have. But here it happened that I just didn't know about that. I didn't notice it. Maybe users who use ZipLine for a long time, they knew that, but for me, when I started using it, I just didn't know that and wasn't aware of that. And it should be clear that you are going above your leverage. So if your algo, and it's important that it doesn't stop, because you maybe want to execute the algorithm, then check all of the places where your leverage goes more than one, and then try to adjust your algorithm to maybe update your strategy and whatever you want.
Okay, perfect. And also, I have last few questions. So, and the main questions related with backtest and live trading. So, is it the same algorithm, or different modes, or what should you done with this? Because as I remember in Zipline there was few forks related Zipline traders, Zipline live, so few forks related with live trading. What's current status related with live trading?
Yes, so we are still working on implementing live trading completely into ZipLime. We're making progress there, but our goal to live trading is that you don't need to change anything. So practically how you run your simulation, that's how you run your live trading. Because, I mean, if you run something in simulation, then you need to run another code in live trading. Then how are you testing that code that you're using in live trading?
Too many risks.
Yeah, so you're testing it during live trading, so it's not good. So our goal here is to just whatever you algorithm using backtesting, you don't change anything, any code. You just practically change parameter. Okay, I don't want to use simulation exchange anymore. I want to use a drill exchange, like line trader or whatever. And that's practically the goal to just make it the same, because we don't want users to when they decide, okay, this looks really great, I want to move to live trading, and then they get, oh, I need to change this and that, and yeah, because that creates then that you're creating separate algorithms for live trading and for simulation, and that's not good.
Okay, and we forget about that you demonstrate your desktop, and also I see algo, and also there is also JSON file, and can you describe what is this? What's the news things related with this algorithm config? So what is it? I don't.
Yeah. So also one of the things when we started using Zipline was okay, all of the examples say I don't know, get assets initialized and process your data in camel data and so on, and then it's okay, I want to change another asset to work with another asset, but then you need to modify code again, which is a bit difficult to work with, and also not just assets. So you might have another 5, 10, 20 parameters that you want to change and to test your algorithm, how it works with them. So practically with JSON, we try to introduce, we want to add some parameters so that you don't need to modify your algorithm if you want to run it just with a different asset, if you want to run it with different numbers for something or whatever. So it's pretty easy to use. I don't use configuration here, but it's just context config, and you can use it like that and use any parameter. This is what we use for parsing parameters. So it's Pydantic. So most people that use Python know about Pydantic. So it's for converting this JSON to this class in Python, and practically just inherit base algorithm config, and you can then specify whatever you want here. And as long as this JSON is looking like this schema, it will be parsed automatically. So you don't need you just need to specify path to the config file. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so when you run simulation, you just pass a path to the config file, and that's it. So you don't need to call parsing manually or whatever. So you just create, as long as the config class is available inside this file, it will be visible to ZipLime, and it will be parsed. That JSON will be parsed automatically into this schema, and you can just use it like a regular Python code.
Okay, perfect. And if I don't want to use config file, so
you just don't need to use it. So you can just delete this, and that's it. So you don't need to use it, and you can just pass none as a config file, and that's it. So it's not a requirement. So you don't need to use that. It's just if you want to use it. So if you want to work like you worked before with adding everything, like it's in this example, statically, putting asset names and everything. So you can do that. So it's not like a requirement. It's just for a flexibility.
Okay, perfect. And I think the last questions to you, how I can install this library. So what's the easiest way to install this library?
It's just poetry install ZipLime. So it's just like this.
Okay.
If you don't use poetry, you can use pip or whatever you say. It's pushed to a Python library index. So whatever you want to use. So you can use poetry, you can use UV, you can use pip. So whatever you decide. So it's up to you.
Okay, perfect.
But it's very simple. You don't need to add anything else.
Okay, and I think in this video we will send some link to GitHub library, to pip install libraries. So few easy lines of code to install this library and try to create your first strategy. Okay,
yeah, I mean, if that's all, if you have any more questions, you can just ask
I think
send it to me or whatever.
I'll ask questions maybe in next meeting or maybe a few later, but currently I think it will be enough for for today. Okay, so guys, have a good day and see you in next videos. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.